Hi, my name's Mark, one of the pastors here at Trillium. A few months ago, actually back at Easter and actually for the rest of the spring, we looked at Doing the Stuff by John Wimber, a small little video that came from a segment that Wimber talked about the church, about doing the stuff of Jesus. He was reminiscing about his own early years as a Christian and how he'd become a Christian to do the stuff of Jesus, and not just some of the stuff, but all of the stuff. I mean, the stuff that we're familiar with, the teachings on love and peace and reconciliation, mercy, justice, forgiveness. But also the doing of the stuff, the miracle-making power of God at work through his life, healing people of physical ailments and mental ailments and spiritual ailments, social ailments, this idea of God manifesting in power in life to bring about healing and new life for people. And Wimber's observation was that people in church didn't take seriously about doing the stuff of Jesus. And that's why he signed up. And it got me thinking about how in the mainline churches, we actually have a double problem with this, not a single problem. See, in evangelical and charismatic churches, they believe that Jesus did the stuff. The only question was whether they were needing to do the stuff themselves. It was enough just to believe it was done once, or were they actually meant to, in a sense, join Jesus by being the conduits of God's love in the world and being the place where God's power is at work in life. But in mainline churches, United churches, Anglican churches, Presbyterian churches, Lutheran churches, I think a lot of people don't actually even believe it was done once. So not only was it not done, being done today in our lives, but it wasn't even done once long ago. See, because we see the world operating a certain way, and what Jesus did doesn't conform to that. I've never laid hands on anybody and healed them of blindness, and probably you haven't. And because we haven't done it, it didn't get done a long time ago by one. And because he didn't do it, we can't do it. And I have never taken a little bit of food and multiplied it out and made it feed thousands of people, and neither of you. And because we haven't done it, it couldn't have been done a long time ago. And because he didn't do it, we can't do it. And I think about walking on water. I've never walked on water, and probably you haven't either. And because we can't do it a long time ago, it wasn't done either. And because he didn't do it, we can't do it either. And see, we don't even believe it was done once. So how are we supposed to replicate in our own lives? How are we supposed to join with Jesus in manifesting the power of the Holy Spirit in life, and bringing healing and life, vital life, to the circumstances that we find ourselves in? I came across a book a year and a half ago called Proof of Heaven. And I imagine some of you have read it before or have heard about this guy, Eben Alexander, a neurosurgeon, many years experience. He taught at Harvard Medical School for 15 years. He had this worldview that had no place for God or spirit or miracles. He believed that everything was explained by physical processes. The brain was this organ that gave consciousness. When the brain got shut down, you got shut down as well. Like as if when the TV gets unplugged, whatever you're watching is lost. And that was until, he says, his own brain crashed. And he in this midst of having this terrible case of meningitis on the brain, he was in a coma for 7 days. And they thought he was going to die, or if he survived somehow, he'd have huge impairment of the brain from all the damage done by the meningitis. Yet in the midst of the 7-day coma, he has these experiences of heaven. And he goes through heaven. He meets God many times over. And when he comes back, he realizes that his understanding doesn't conform to the worldview that he used to have. And over the next couple of years, he builds a new worldview that encompasses God and spirit and miracles. It's a worldview that now has a place for an all-loving and all-powerful God at work in life. And it seems to me that when Paul is talking to the church about the gifts of the Spirit that we looked at on Sunday, he's really instructing the church on a new worldview that has a place for God and Spirit and miracles. You see, we're caught up in a worldview that has brain but no mind, has soul, no soul, just chances and chemicals, no meaning, just probabilities, no poetry, mathematics. And that's not the worldview that's going to allow us to follow Jesus. You and I have been given a chance to prove that it was done once long ago by doing it in our own lives. See, the proof doesn't mean to be a historical reminiscence only. It's meant to be in the example of our own lives. And when we join Jesus in spirit, something miraculous takes place. Your worldview, mine, Well, we've been indoctrinated pretty heavily by the world that we're a part of. But that needs to come to an end in my thinking, and hopefully yours too.